We're going to learn why capitalism is
All
good.
right, capitalism is good. Let me explain.
Externalities.
And no one dares swimming in the river anymore. This is clearly not an optimal use of resources, you might say. Why didn't Smith's invisible hand prevent it?
Why? Tell
The
me.
reason market forces didn't prevent it is that the water was free to use. The market didn't know it had any value.
So we need to sell the water now.
I mean, Adam Smith knew there was going to be externalities. He knew that there would have had to have been some system to cover those externalities.
I mean, there's also Keynesian economics as well that kind of acknowledges the fact that there are externalities.
Mm.
Or do we just not count do we just not count him anymore? You ever notice that whenever these types of videos come up, it's always like Adam Smith.
Yeah.
We never talk about Keynesian. We never talk about any of the other.
There's nobody
economists.
that ever came up between the 100+ years. It was just Adam Smith.
I hate to
no
say
other
it.
thinkers.
Keynesianism.
That's how archaic their knowledge is.
The reasoning.
Yeah.
Pollution couldn't reduce its value. There are several ways to deal with problems like this. One is to just pass laws that forbid certain actions and punish those who disobey. Or you can put a tax on the pollution so that at least the government has money to clear up the mess.
Obama tried
That's
to
a
do
losing bet.
Obama tried to do that, but if I'm right, I don't think he fully implemented it.
That's a losing bet. The tax, carbon tax,
Yeah.
that's a losing bet. The amount of damage they're doing to the amount of money necessary to fix... No, it's not. It's a losing battle. Tell me, what will... Even if you got $10 billion in tax, what will $10 billion in tax revenue do for the $100 billion in tons of carbon?
They're going to do $100 worth of damage, but they're only going to pay you $10. Yeah.
Well, even with the $10, it will take years to turn that $10 into anything resembling a solution.
Yes, it's true.
Or you can put a price on using the water. There are pros and cons to all of those, but that's a different story. The story for today is that we have known that externalities can lead to market failures since the middle of the last century.
I'm happy she acknowledged that, and she's not like a full Ayn Rand,
Carbon dioxide emissions are such an externality. For the market to optimize the use of fossil fuel resources, we should have put a price on releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We did not, and that's why we're now in deep shit. So, yes,
but what would we have made to combat CO2?
Yeah, like carbon capture projects don't work, and hell, I'm actually
There's
for
no magical
replanting.
machine that can really convert it. You just have to create new methods and processes that doesn't produce that much CO2.
I mean, I'm for replanting forests, but even in that situation,
it's not enough.
That tree is going to take 100 years to fulfill its purpose. And we have to, and arguably, for every tree we cut, we probably cut down like 5.
Yeah.
So we're not even really keeping up. That's the kind of the problem, is that people always talk about, like, oh, if we take money, we can take the money and put it into solutions, but you're discounting the amount of time, the time lag for those solutions to even be feasible. And what if they're not? We only have a handful of solutions that we know work. Cleaning the oceans, for example, planting new trees. Like, those are things that can work, but they're not being done at large enough scales and fast enough to combat the issue. I guess that's the problem with using the market solutions. They don't materialize solutions fast enough.
Yeah.
Current capitalist systems do have a problem with environmental protection, but the reason is...
It's like the same thing with medicine. I think with the environment, it is better to be preventative than, trying to fix it, reacting to the problem. Instead of, I don't think that's good. The environment's already been damaged. We don't know if we can even fix it. We got very lucky in a lot of cases. Like, I think one of the luckiest things we've ever seen was Fukushima. It was a miracle how fast they managed to clean that site. And it's still not all the way clean. There's still a little bit of contamination in the area, but now it's livable. That took a lot of money and a lot of time, and it was done quickly. There are times when we have good solutions, but notice how that was a government solution, and it was quick.
Yeah.
And had a ton of money behind it. That's the kind of stuff, like, we need equally ambitious solutions for these problems, I think is where I'm trying to get at with this.
That there's something wrong with capitalism per se. It's that we didn't set it up correctly in the first place. Basically, the origin of the problem is that no one paid attention to economists. And unfortunately, we still don't pay enough attention to economists.
I don't agree, because if you know anything about climate change, then you would know that we've had studies about this from the 70s. The gas companies have been funding these studies for decades. They knew. They just don't care. And your argument is, oh, we just need to regulate them better. But the problem is that, and this is my opinion, but I always believe regulation is firmly behind business, if that makes sense. Like, we are catching up with business because they're always finding new ways to fuck us, and we're finding new ways to stop it.
Yeah.
And it's again, just like addressing the problem after, it's a losing battle. We need to prevent it, not regulate it. You know what I mean? It's almost like we're throwing in the towel by saying this. I don't think it's okay to allow some pollution. We shouldn't let any pollution. We should switch away from pollution. That, you know, we're not in an age where we need to spew out coal everywhere we go.